Kendrick Lamar kicked your ass lyrically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And anybody acting like this is anything more than Drake's feelings being hurt, you a hoe too. A OV hoe to be exact, okay? Donkey of the day for Monday, December 2nd goes to Aubrey Drake Graham. We was on vacation all last week, so I didn't get the opportunity to properly give Drake the credit he deserves for being stupid. But if you haven't heard, last week, Frozen Moments LLC, a company managed by Drake, filed a petition in the New York Supreme Court accusing UMG and Spotify of engaging in a scheme to ensure Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us broke through on multiple streaming platforms. According to the petition, Aubrey Graham claimed the label used dishonest tactics to increase the number of listeners for Not Like Us on Spotify and radio stations. He also filed another petition against UMG alleging defamation and claiming that the label could have stopped the release of Not Like Us, which the rapper said in the document is a song falsely accusing him of being a sex offender.
What about what you falsely accused Kendrick of? Being a domestic abuser. I hope Charlamagne said something about that.
The person who has the real defamation case in this situation is Kendrick's woman. Because Drake not only said Kendrick was beating on her, he said that Dave Free, Kendrick's business partner and friend, was the real father to one of Kendrick's kids. So if you're going to accuse somebody of defamation, you must first make sure you too aren't guilty of
that part. Bro, Whitney was completely innocent in this whole thing. Whitney had nothing to do with nothing. She ain't say nothing. She ain't diss Drake in no capacity. Bro, if you go back to push-ups, he brought her up first. And then he not only proceeded to diss her, but also Kendrick and Dave Free and Family Matters by saying not only is Kendrick a domestic abuser, but saying that Whitney slept with Dave Free and Kendrick's kids aren't actually his. So if anybody is going to be able to accuse somebody of defamation, Whitney would be able to do that against Drake. Drake initiated it.
Drake saying that Kendrick defamed him is indeed the pot calling the kettle beige, but that's not even why I'm giving him Donkey of the Day. Okay, I'm giving him Donkey of the Day because Drake is proving without a shadow of a doubt that he simply doesn't understand culture. I used to debate with my man Glasses Malone. Drop on the clues bombs for Glasses Malone.
He doesn't understand the culture. That's what Kendrick said in Not Like Us. And I'm noticing everybody is calling him a Karen. And I'm not even going to go as far to say that Drake isn't a part of the culture. I know a lot of people are trying to take his black card away. I ain't going to do that. Drake has contributed a lot to hip hop, so I'm not about to just let this beef like take all of that away from him. But at the same time, bro, you got to read the room.
I used to debate with Glasses when he would say things like, Drake isn't hip hop. He would say Drake is not culture. Glasses would actually say Drake is Madonna. He's pop. He's manufactured.
I hear a lot of people say that. I hear a lot of people say he's not the culture. I mean, we had Mos Def do an interview and said Drake is not rap. He said Drake is not hip hop. He said Drake is a pop artist. He views Drake as a pop artist. Listen, I'm not going to say that. I understand how other people feel like they can say that. You know what I'm saying? I understand the Not Like Us movement. I understand that it makes a lot of sense. I ain't going to go as far to say that because there was a point where everybody loved Drake and he was delivering classics and it seemed as though he understood this thing of ours. Right now, I don't know what's going on with him, but it does look like you don't understand. It does look like you're not reading the room.
And you know, after this lawsuit, I have to say, I agree because Drake doesn't understand how any of this works. Number one, Not Like Us was very popular. Okay, it's still very popular. It was an instant smash.
Like I say, it was going to be what it was going to be, regardless if they used bots or not. Not Like Us was going to be what it was going to be. I mean, you have the number one rapper going at the number two rapper and saying the craziest things in the world about him on a banging beat, a DJ Mustard beat. Trust me, it was going to be number one, whether they use bots or not.
All right, Not Like Us isn't just a hit record. It's a rare cultural phenomenon. Records like that don't come along too often. Records like that can't be programmed. I don't care how much money you spend at radio or on playlists, whatever it is. When something is a cultural phenomenon, you can't buy that. Okay, you can't buy culture, Drake. Not Like Us.
That's not to say they didn't use bots, because honestly, I don't know whether they use bots or not. Listen, likely they probably did use bots. But at the end of the day, it was going to be what it was going to be. It might not have streamed the same amount, but trust me, you would have still heard it everywhere. It still would have been number one. He would have still got this Super Bowl opportunity and so on.
Was a cultural identifier for a whole coast. I wouldn't be surprised if California made the state motto, they not like us one day. Right now, their state
Hey, that's
motto
a
is
good
Eureka.
motto.
So they need an upgrade. Okay,
That's
and
a
they
good
not like us would
motto.
absolutely be a better motto, but that's what Drake doesn't understand because Drake is absolutely one of the biggest artists in the world. Okay, he has a cult-like following, not just a cult-like following. He has some of the most loyal D-riders on the planet. In fact, drop one of the clues bombs for Drake's D-riders. There are people amongst us who sit on Drake's penis the way Drake was sitting on the CN Tower on the Views album cover. Okay, but even with Drake's huge fan base,
They do the same for Kendrick, though. We gotta be
whatever
fair.
the label UMG was doing to promote, not like us, they were doing the same thing for you your whole career. Okay, if one of those diss records you put out would have taken off and been
That's
a
what I
cultural
said.
phenomenon like Not Like Us, the record label would have pushed that too. How would you be clowning Kendrick right now if Kendrick said, UMG, you didn't have to let Drake put that record out accusing me of beating my lady. You didn't have to let Drake put that record out saying my.
And this is the thing. This happens to artists all the time. I mean, artists aren't getting equal treatment at labels. If you really think all artists are being treated equally, you are sadly mistaken. Meaning that Drake, he's going to get pushed a lot more than a Four Bats. Drake is going to get pushed a lot more than a Coi Leray. Drake is going to get pushed a lot more than a Trippie Redd. I'm just naming out random artists, but my point is everybody's not going to get treated equally. Some people, it's going to seem unfair because it is unfair. So the same thing can happen to you, Drake. If UMG is like, hey, we're going to push Kendrick right now, and we're going to push his song way more than we push your song. Sorry, that's what happens when you dance with the devil. When you dance with the devil, that's what happens. When you sell your soul, that's what happens.
My child isn't really mine. I'm trying to get you to see why you look like a complete and total sucker, Drake. Okay, not to mention, once again, you are a huge artist, but don't believe your own hype too much because those same tricks you are accusing UMG of doing for Not Like Us, they have done for you your whole career. There was a time when Drake was on the cover of every playlist on the browser page of Spotify. Okay?
Everyone.
They did it with Apple too. I think it was called Scorpion Season or something like that. And he took over
Everyone.
multiple playlists on the same day. All I'm saying, Aubrey, is stop acting like you haven't been the beneficiary of record label technology. Okay, you being a
Whether
whole
you know it or not, it's happening. And Drake, you're hella big. Pause. You are a huge artist, so I refuse to believe that you were ignorant to those truths.
simply because you lost. Simply because Kendrick Lamar kicked your ass lyrically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And anybody acting like this is anything more than Drake's feelings being hurt, you a hoe too. A OV hoe to be exact, okay? He's fighting the same war that Michael
Charlamagne
Jackson fought.
snapping.
Drake is taking a stand for the art and the artists. People who are running with that narrative would hold Drake's penis while he pees and shake it for him when he's finished. Okay,
What?
Drake has been handling this terribly since Not Like Us dropped. And please, let's keep this in mind. Drake, you're in this position because you tapped out. Okay, you chose to tap out after you heard Not Like Us. Kendrick dropped too much tune for your head top. Okay, he gave you Euphoria, 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us. It was too much for you because
It
you
was too
didn't have
much.
to tap out after the
It
hard
was too
part
much.
sleep. You could have went in the studio and gave us a bop. You the bop guy. You could have got with some ghostwriters, went in the studio and wrote a hit to combat Not Like Us, but you chose not to. You tapped out. Kendrick won, and he told you to squabble up, not lawyer up, but you chose to get the lawyers because you lost the squabble. Please give Aubrey Drake Cram the sweet sounds of the Hamiltons.
You are the donkey of the day.
There you have it. There you have it. Charlamagne just went in on Drake. He gave him the donkey of the day, and honestly, it's warranted at this point. Listen, I think Drake might have a case. And I think there's a great chance that he could win and he could overcome. But at the end of the day, bro, these practices, this corruption that has been going on in the industry has been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, just watch any movie about the music industry. Just do any research. Talk to an artist that's signed to a label and they will tell you how corrupt and unfair it is. So we really don't need Drake to sit here and tell us that it's unfair. The reality of the situation is it is unfair, but you benefited from that unfairness when it was on your side. Y'all keep me posted on what's going on. Make sure you turn your post notifications on. I will be posting daily. Subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.